Hi everyone, I'm Brandy, an OpenSciEd teacher and professional learning facilitator. Welcome to OpenSciEd Chemistry, Unit 3, Lesson 4. In this lesson, we'll be investigating how liquids interact with surface materials to help us determine if the surface features on Mars were likely made by water. Let's take a look at how we got here. So during lesson 3, we figured out that some of Earth's surface features were formed by water erosion, and others were created by tectonic activity or meteor impacts. Mars has features that resemble Earth's water eroded landscapes, but the moon does not. So in this lesson, we're wondering how and why do water and other liquids interact with materials to make surface features? Here's the lesson at a glance. The erosion investigation takes place over 3 days. The teacher's guide says it's about 60 minutes of materials preparation is required, most of which is to gather and set up the materials for the investigation. There's a very brief teacher-facing video that shows a demonstration on how to use a straw to drop water onto the sand for the investigation. Devices are optional in case you decide to have students share photos of their results. There's 3 big parts in this lesson. Let's see what's happening in each. So in the first loop, after noticing the similarities between the surface features of Mars and Earth, we're leaning towards thinking that these features might have been caused by water. But we aren't sure whether it was water that caused it or some other liquid. So your students are going to design an erosion investigation to test the various liquids and see the types of landforms that those liquids can create. We want to see if water and other liquids make the same erosion patterns. We figure out that water caused most of the erosion. Oil caused the least amount of erosion, and alcohol and acetone seem to be somewhere in between water and oil. We wonder if the patterns in our investigation results relate somehow to the structure or the properties of these various liquids. So in the second loop, the students are considering the small-scale properties of water, and they examine the molecular structures of these other various liquids to see if they can use their models to explain the properties and the results from their erosion investigation. We figure out that water has one positive side and one negative side, and that there's only a very small part that's nonpolar. We also figure out that polarity is due to uneven charge distribution in a molecule. After using the molecular models, we wonder how the Martian landscape was created. So in the last loop, the students read about the Mars's geologic landforms, and then they participate in a building understandings discussion about water's properties and connect those properties to the matter, energy, and forces poster. We figure out that the polar regions on the molecules will produce force interactions with some nearby polar regions on the neighboring molecules, which can be used to explain some of the property differences between the substances that we were studying. We also figure out that the polar molecules could more easily erode some materials and their surroundings than the nonpolar molecules. We wonder what happened to the water that formed these dry riverbeds. Where else besides the parts of the surface that we examine might there be water found on the planet now? We figure out that polar molecules could more easily erode some materials and their surroundings than the nonpolar molecules. Now for a few key moments. So there's a key moment in part 2. This is an important opportunity to emphasize that every individual student should be contributing to make their group's erosion investigation design. The collaborative development of this investigation design helps to support engagement of all of your students. Building consensus about how the groups will use the materials in the investigation will allow you to compare data across all of your groups. Then in part 8, for a key moment there, you want to ask the students to use arrows and the molecular structures to show the force interactions between the molecules. Ask the students which molecules might exhibit stronger forces or greater number of force interactions on their neighboring particles and why. Have the students use the cutouts to help them explain why some liquids might cause more erosion and why other liquids cause less erosion. A key moment in part 13 is that when you're guiding this discussion, you want to use a framing of what versus why in the conversation. Students may describe what has happened in the investigation, like water eroded more, but that's not sufficient. You need to press the students for why the parts of their models are interacting the way that they see. Have the matter, energy, and forces, or MEF poster from Unit 2 visible at the start of this discussion. You'll be referencing it and you'll be adding some panels and arrows to it. So you want to keep it close and use it to recap the students' thinking and how it related matter and forces section of the poster throughout this whole lesson. The teacher's edition has supports to help walk you through the discussion step by step. So where do we go from here? In the next lesson, we'll investigate how we can tell what's in the atmosphere and just below the surface of objects that are in space. Now, here's a few tips and tricks. So in part 3 for the erosion investigation, since you want your students to compare data across all of the groups, it's really important that everyone uses the same technique as demonstrated in the video that's embedded in the slide deck for controlling the way that the liquids are applied to the test surface. They should be using the same clean sand and same size trays. Since this lab can get a bit messy, I actually use smaller trays than the ones that are shown in the video. Mine are rectangular, like a bread pan. This reduced the amount of sand that each group needed to use. It made cleanup easier. I had my students take photos of their results and upload them into a shared Google slide deck. And this way, everyone could see the results from all of the groups across all of my class periods for the gallery walk that's going to happen on day 2. It allowed more data for us to be able to see the patterns. To maximize the efficiency of the investigation, I had every group test water. I also had them use a second tray where they tested just one of the other liquids, oil or alcohol or acetone. After they uploaded their pictures into the Google slide deck, then I rearranged the slide deck and I put all of the same type of liquid together to make it easier for us to do the gallery walk that's in part 5. In part 8, you're using the molecule cutout cards. So I suggest just making sure to have red and blue colored pencils or markers available for your students so they can color code any notes that you might have them take about the interactions, or they can use those later when they are updating their progress tracker. I also recommend that you store your molecule cutout cards in labeled envelopes. It'll make it really easy to distribute it during this session, but also in the future. In part 13, you'll be leading a building understandings discussion about water's properties and connections to matter, energy, and forces poster. Since this is a conversation where you want to build consensus around some key ideas and also document those ideas publicly on the MEF poster, I recommend that you use the discussion planning tool to help you prepare. I just Googled OpenSciEd discussion planning tool, and it took me right to the location where this template is located on the OSE website. This tool can be used for all of the 3 different types of discussions that OSE has, so you can use it again in the future. It'll help you focus on the goals for your discussion and think through the flow of the discussion so you make sure that you don't leave anything out. There's also support suggestions in the teacher's edition, including strategies for the building understandings discussion and supporting students in developing and using patterns. There's also a step-by-step guide for how to add the ideas onto the MEF poster. So you want to make sure you take a look at that before the discussion. For the personal glossary, we will encounter several terms during the lesson. Some of these terms are co-constructed or even encountered in the middle school grade bands of NGSS or OpenSciEd middle school curriculum, or in previous OpenSciEd high school biology or chemistry unit. You know your students best, so you may choose to define some of these words and not others, just depending on your context and your students' experience. For poster management, you'll be referencing the Water's Importance for Life and Chemical Reactions poster that you made in Lesson 2, and also the Matter, Energy, and Forces poster that you started in the Lightning unit. You'll also need the expansion panels and the arrows that you can add to the MEF poster during the Building Understandings discussion in Part 13. Remember to save the MEF poster because you'll continue to reference it throughout the rest of the course. So to recap, in this lesson, we investigated how liquids interact with surface materials to help us determine if the surface features on Mars were likely made by water. Up next in Lesson 5, we'll investigate the absorption and transmission of light by solutions of pure substances and construct a way to graphically display our data. Then we'll use the reference spectra to identify gases in simple mixtures and in the atmospheres of objects in space. Good luck and have fun.